everybody, my name is Victoria. Welcome back to my channel, and today I am talking about the books that I hope to read in the month of July. July is jam-packed for me. I have some traveling going on. I am also in the process of starting a new job that will start in August. So in July, I'm also dealing with all this paperwork stuff and changes, and also just getting ready to do my new job and trying to figure out how to balance all of that with the books that I want to read. So I'm excited for July. I think it's going to be an awesome month, but it's also a little bit overwhelming. So the only way I'm really getting through books this month is through a lot of audiobooks. So luckily for all of the books that I want to get to, I also have an audiobook except for one of those books. And I will show you which one that is. But I do plan on doing a lot of audio listening. I also, because I'm traveling, I have some time to sit on planes, trains, and automobiles. And so I will just be just trying to read whenever I can and try not to stress out too much. But I do have a lot of really fun and exciting reading plans and a lot of buddy reads. So first and foremost, it's July. That means it is Jane Austen July. So Jane Austen July is a read-along of all Jane Austen stuff. The read-along is put on by a few wonderful booktubers who I will link down below. I don't want to say names because I don't want to forget anyone, but I will try to put all the hosts down below. Every year when they do Jane Austen July, they always have a buddy read or two, and I'm actually not doing either of those buddy reads, and I'm going rogue, going off on my own a little bit, because I have had a bit of a Jane Austen year, and I am going to be reading more Jane Austen as the year progresses. So, one that I haven't read yet, which I would like to get under my belt, is Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen, obviously. Didn't need to tell you the author that time, but this is a buddy read with Rainy from Rainy Day Reads, and I forget if Rainy has read this one already or not, but I definitely am reading it for the first time. I have seen the movie, the 90s film, a million times, and I love it. It's one of my favorite Jane Austen movies, but I don't know how good it is as far as an adaptation because I've never read the book. So it's time to fix that. Sense and Sensibility isn't terribly long. It's a little over 300 pages. I do want to read most of this physically with my eyeballs because when I've tried Jane Austen on audio before, I've just had a hard time getting into the language and grasping everything that's going on. So I'm hoping to read this physically. The plot of Sense and Sensibility revolves around two sisters, Marianne and Eleanor Dashwood, and they are very different in personality and just the types of people they are. I think there's also kind of a big age difference between them as well. But Eleanor is the calm, thoughtful, considerate one who's kind of introverted, and Marianne is the brash, passionate one, and we follow some of their romantic interests as well, and there's some drama with the family, and so I already know the whole plot of this from the movie, which I think is fairly accurate, so it'll be cool to see how this all plays out in the book. The next book that I'm hoping to get to is a big one. It's a chonky book, and that is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. I have never read this book, and it was chosen for Michael Knipp's Patreon buddy read, which I try to participate in that as much as I can. And this one got picked. I also voted for this one, so I blame myself. But it is a thick fantasy novel, high fantasy. It is very well loved. I even have friends who are not booktubers or into the book internet at all, and they also love this book. So I know that this book is just really widely praised. I do realize that this trilogy is not finished, but yes, we're starting it anyways. So a little nervous about that, but I have been so curious about this, and I know a lot of people have told me that they think I'm gonna like this as far as the writing style and the story, and I guess there's some music involved in this too. I think our main character might be a musician or a traveling musician. I don't really know, but I do know that I need to read this, and I think I cannot procrastinate on it anymore, and we'll have a group in Michael Nipp's Patreon. So if you want to join up with that, I would check out Michael Nipp's channel, and we have a lot of fun in his Patreon. Just very like active group of people, and we always read something every month. So we'll see. Name of the Wind. I am kind of itching for some more fantasy. I feel like I've been reading a lot more classics this year, which I also love, but I feel like my fantasy heart is being neglected a little bit. So ready for this, kind of. The next book I have on this list is the most important book on my personal TBR, and the one that I definitely will not be getting behind on, because I'm going to make sure I don't get behind on this, and that is Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. We are starting our read-along of this. I'm hosting a read-along, co-hosting with Naomi from Naomi's Bookshelf, and Christy from Christy Lewis Dostoevsky in Space, and Melanie from Melanie the Frenchy Reader. And so we are endeavoring to read this very, 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 very chonky book. We got a lot of chonky books on the TBR. We're actually taking 2.5 months to read this book because of its size. We wanted to just chunk it out in small bits over 2.5 months. So it's gonna be less intimidating, I promise. I've actually created a reading schedule for this first section, and I will be creating daily reading schedules for each chunk. And so I have some Discord conversation going with my Discord about this book as well, and that's where you can get like the reading schedule and stuff. So if you want to read this with us and read it slowly, and we can chat along the way and encourage each other, because I know there's a lot of people that are like super intimidated by this, or they've started it. A lot of people have said, oh, I've started it and I just never made it through, so they're going to jump into the read along and try to make it through with us. So we're just going to encourage each other to keep going. We're going to work through all the difficult spots. I know that this author does sometimes wax poetic about like social issues that were going on in France at the time as well. So those are all things we're going to work through together. We can do this. I have my Discord linked down below if you want to jump in there. Let us know if you're joining along with us, and start chatting with us in the Discord once you start the book, and let us know your thoughts. We will also be having a live show on Naomi's channel for up to just through part 1. So we're going to talk about just part 1, volume 1 of the book on July 17th at 10 a.m. PST. What is that, 1 p.m. EST, I think, over on Naomi's channel. So be sure that you're subscribed to Naomi and also Christy and Melanie for any more Les Mis updates. The next book I have here is also a buddy read, and this is a buddy read I almost forgot about until luckily Danny messaged me yesterday, and I was like, oh my gosh, I almost forgot about this completely. But I did commit to a buddy read of this one with her. Back in January, we talked about doing this, and I believe Margaret Pinard is also going to join us, and I think Emily from Novel Novels might also be joining us. So these are all ladies I've never buddy read with before. Actually, no, I've buddy read with Danny before, but I haven't read anything with Margaret or Emily before, so I'm really excited about that. And this is a book that has been on my TBR, my physical TBR, for maybe 2 or 3 years now, and it has just kind of collected dust. It's very pretty, so it looks pretty on my shelf, but I need to read it, and that is The Essex Serpent by Sarah Perry. This has shown up on a few TBRs, and I've just never gotten to it, so I think this buddy read will really be the final push that I need to read this book. And I do have an audiobook of this, so I think that might be the direction I go with this one. Even though this copy is so pretty, I do want to physically read it if I can, but it might be an audiobook for this one. But at least I have the copy, and it's completely gorgeous. This is, I believe, a historical fiction novel. Don't know a whole lot about this one other than there is something about a mythical sea monster in it. So that appeals to me, combined with like the historical aspect and the beautiful cover, and we will see where this book takes us. So in a past TBR, I have talked about my pile of shame, which I have actually been making some progress through my pile of shame. I'm happy to report, but I do still have a little bit more work to do on it. This next book is on my pile of shame, And I think, again, this is going to need to be an audiobook for me to actually get through it. And so that is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I've actually already started it. You can see I have like a receipt as a bookmark or something, because despite having like a whole drawer full of bookmarks, I use receipts instead for bookmarks. So that is just the bookish nerd life. That's what happens. This is a very popular book, very well loved. You probably don't even need me to do a synopsis or anything about this, but this follows Addie LaRue, who is a lady who has a curse put on her very early in the book. It's not really a spoiler. That's just kind of the premise of the novel. She has a curse put on her, and she no longer ages, I believe. I think she's just kind of like frozen in time. And not only does she no longer age, but also no one ever remembers her after they've talked to her. So they have a conversation with her, they walk away, they totally forget they ever had a conversation with her. So she is basically cursed to be forgotten. I was really enjoying it when I started, and I just got sidetracked. There's no easy way to put it. I just got sidetracked by other stuff. I did want to finish this, but again, I think audio might be the way for me to go so that I don't get sidetracked again by the things I'm physically reading. This is also one of my book of the month picks, and I desperately need to get through some of these book of the months. I have a lot on that shelf right behind me that I haven't read, so this is also gonna contribute to me finishing that project as well. Not finishing, but making progress towards that. Speaking of book of the month, I do want to try to add one more book of the month to my TBR. This is the last book on my TBR, and that is People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. I feel like this is a perfect time to read this because I am also going on vacation in July. And I have read Emily Henry before, and I liked her book a lot. I read Beach Read, which was a book of the month book, I think last year. And so I picked that up and loved it. It was my first book of the month also that I read, so it was just like a really good way to start. So I did really have fun with this author. I'm hoping to have fun again. And as a bonus, this is also Krista from Krista Books and Jams. This is her Patreon buddy read on her channel as well. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, it's time. I need to try and get another book of the month under my belt because I just keep buying them and then not reading them. So hopefully I can get this done. The only thing with this is I don't have an audiobook copy of this, so I do need to read this physically, but it's not going to be like a super hard read. So I'm hoping I can like read this on the plane when I'm traveling and like get a big chunk out of it. So gonna read the vacation book while I'm on vacation. How about that? This is a contemporary romance novel, and this is about Alex and Poppy, who were best friends and then had a falling out. And then in order to try and repair their friendship, they decide to go on this vacation together. And I'm gonna assume they fall in love and that everything works out hunky-dory, but we will see. We will see. And that is everything I'm planning on reading in July. I think I can do it. We'll see. But mostly I just want to enjoy my summer reading. I have this month off from work one more time, even though it's kind of busy, and then it'll be like back to work and back to normal life. So I do want to just enjoy my reading process and try to have fun with it. So if some of these books don't get read, it is okay, but I hope to make a good little dent in that pile. I will have everybody I mentioned linked down below. Please check out all of the booktube channels that I've mentioned because they are all wonderful, amazing people. I also have more social media links of my own linked down below, including my Discord. I hope you are having a wonderful day and a wonderful summer. Let me know 1 or 2 books down in the comments that you are excited about reading in July. If you've made a TBR or TBR video, I would love to see it. So just let me know so that I can go see what you're reading in July. Keep reading great books, and until next time, bye-bye.